Some of you men, right? And I'm just going to talk to some of you guys, okay? Because the things that you're doing is not okay. Yeah? When you marry, it means you are married. If you know you don't want to marry, leave the marriage alone.
Oh, it's hot in here, and I can't seem to understand this. I know your love is over here. Tell me what your love is made of.
Why are you here? No, I'm filming. Can you get out? Bye. Sorry, I'm coming. Oh, my poor baby. I always feel bad when I have to do that. But as you know, he's his brother's child. He's not even my kid anymore. Guys, I have been so busy with uni. It has been just a lot of stuff going on. And so I actually haven't had the time to film or anything like that. Like, anytime I get a time to film, I don't have the time to edit. So I will film and then I won't edit. So that just means I've got a whole load of stuff just piled up. I've got lots of Instagram videos, reels, TikToks that I've made, but have not had the opportunity to edit and post. And that's just because I am currently, as you know, in my last year in uni. And the work is just, wow, mahusive. It's too much. Like, honestly, I feel like I am drowning. There is just so much work going on. And at this point, your girl is just literally saying, Lord, please let these last 3 assignments go by quickly. So I've got an assignment due in the next 4 days. Once that one is gone, that module is done. I don't have to think about it. And then next thing you know, it's 2 more assignments and your girl is done. Listen, if you guys see a video after September of me back in a bottle of Henny, I don't want nobody to ask me no questions. Okay? Because after 3 years of oppression, I deserve the whole bottle. Do you know what I mean? Today, I've decided to have a chat with you guys about my Tinder chronicles. Guys, when I say Tinder is just not for anybody, I'm sorry, but that place is like the ghetto. Some of you men, right? And I'm just going to talk to some of you guys, okay? Because the things that you're doing is not okay. Yeah? When you marry, it means you are married. If you know you don't want to marry, leave the marriage alone. Don't start opening your eyes, saying you're gonna go somewhere and look here and look there. Let me get a little bit of that, a little bit of this. It's too much. Okay, so let's get back into it. Anyways, I joined Tinder in like 2014. I joined it because at the time, one of my aunties was like really into like dating sites and stuff. And me and her are like super close. So she was like, okay, Tash, like, why don't you join anyone? You know, you want to get back into the dating scene. It's just you and Caleb. Why don't you find yourself a man? You know, you don't go out enough. So dating sites are the next thing. And I was like, okay, why not? So at first I joined POF. And if you know POF, guys, just don't do it. And that right there is like the pit. You know when I say the pit, like a giant dollop of useless men packed into a bucket and they say, oh yeah, take your pick. That's literally what POF is. Trash. If anybody ever met their husband on POF, please, high five. That's all I can say to you. High five, because nothing good ever came out of that website. From the minute you log in and put your face on there, all you see is people. Beep, 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 beep. Everybody wants to talk to you. Even if you put in the I only like black men, almost you will see like Billies and Jims coming to you and going, hey, look, are you trying to be a MILF? Are you trying to be what's that stupid thing that cuckold? The things that I have been approached with on POF are just disgusting. I tried that at first, and honestly, it wasn't anything amazing. I did not meet anybody I felt like was, you could bring back home. Like, I think I probably went on like one date, and then I gave up on POF because I just felt like it was just filled to the pit. It was a pit. Like I said, a pit of just trash. But let me not be evil, right? Let's not be evil. Some of the people there could hold a conversation. So after my failure with POF, I decided, you know what? Let me ask my aunt again. Yo, sis, what other site can I go on? And she was like, okay, why don't you jump on Tinder? I recently jumped on it, and it seems like the people on there are sensible. And honestly, guys, I couldn't fault her there. Tinder, for me, was like, wow, because at the time as well, I was working. I wasn't trying to date no bummy dude that just wants to come and sit and eat my money. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm an extremely independent person. And what I don't like is a man that I have to take care of. I don't mind looking after you when you go through it and you need the help. But when you're a man, be a man, innit? Like, for me personally, you need to be able to take care of yourself, your household, all that. We share our money, but at the same time, we don't. Do you know what I mean? I cannot be coming home and you're sitting there watching TV. I don't do the house husband thing. Sorry, I don't believe in that for myself. Those that want, or you'll be doing, that's your business. Me, I cannot do it. Anyway, so they were coming out and be like, oh, I'm a financial adjudicator. And I'm like, adjudicator? What is that? But, it was nice. I enjoyed Tinder for that time before I actually started, now looking for like proper stuffs. So anyway, like eventually I decided that, you know what, I am ready now. I've tasted the water a bit. I am ready to actually start dating properly and dating with purpose. And by dating with purpose, I mean actually looking for someone to settle down with now, for real. Guys, that was when all my problems started. Guy number one, right? I met this guy. We're going to call him Idris. Okay, we're just going to call him Idris. Right? And that was because he was like a bootleg, like a 2.0, like a... You ever meet someone who looks like someone, but they don't exactly look like that person at the same time? Like they're like a knockoff. You know, like when you see Michael Jackson lookalikes and you're just looking at them like, don't you have anything else to do with your life? That kind of like, he was, do you know what I mean? He really looked like him from the side. He looked like Idris Elba, like really. And if y'all know me, you know me, Idris Elba is my thing. But that wasn't really why I went for him. Why I actually went for him was because he was nice. Like, wow, dude was nice. Like, I'm talking the way that he spoke to me, everything. I was like, oh, God, is this you? Guys, I learned that day that the devil can package people too. You just have to pay attention. Every time that you're praying, is people are there listening to you. And so they know how to package their demons. Honestly, he was a really nice person. And because he was so nice, it was difficult to pick up on the red flags. Another thing is, guys, I'm a big woman, right? I'm a big girl. And as confident as I can be, that little fat girl is still inside my heart, okay? That little girl that was like, people didn't like her, the one that got bullied because she was fat, all that. She's still inside my heart. And so he was like 6'3", tall, hands, like, hey, when I was like, me, Tasha, I have arrived. And then, to the point that my best friend actually said to me, this is too good to be true. And honestly, like, the inner fat girl in me was like, girl, run. But I just was like excited. And then to top it off, he was on some Jill Scott shit. He was like, you know, that whole he loved me from my hair follicle to my toenails, la la la. On our first date, this guy told me I had really nice fingertips. 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 And so I was like, wow, okay, this is like really nice. Oh, thank you. So he was really, really commenting on a lot of stuff. He was very, very calm, collected guy, very peaceful, didn't seem to have any issues with him. And so I just was like, okay, you know, when we spoke about settling down, he seemed to be on the same thing that I was on. He lived with his cousin or something. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. He lived with his cousin. That's fine. And so often we would talk, but the one thing that always used to happen was every time he would be on his way home from work, he'd be on the phone to me, and then as soon as he gets home, he'd be like, babe, I've got to go in, da 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 da. And so I was like, oh, okay, no problem, go ahead, do your thing, bye, whatever. Never did I pick up on the issues, okay? I did not even sit there and think about nothing. I just kind of was like, oh, okay, whatever, he needs to go back in. And so eventually we got to meet up, right? We went on our date. Like I said, he was commenting all this. We went on a few dates actually. And so, yeah, you know, after the few dates, it was like, yeah, okay. And then one day he was like, oh, he's free for the day. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of my kid. Let's spend the day at home. You can come over to mine, I'll cook you a meal, just chill, you know? And so, yeah, he came over. We spent the day together, which was very nice. You know, everything. He ticked every box, guys. He ticked every box. And so, yeah, you know, it was a good day. I appreciated the day. And so, like, a couple of days later was the weekend, and we had agreed to meet up again on the weekend. And after agreeing to meet up again on the weekend, we continued speaking, but then he became a bit distant. Your typical situation, guys. That's literally what it was. Okay? And so, obviously, me, like an idiot, I didn't pick up still. I was thinking, okay, like, maybe he's busy, whatever. Anyway, like, I tried to call him on the day that he was supposed to come, he didn't show up. And he wouldn't pick up the phone. And then eventually I kind of messaged and I was like on some like, listen here, if you can't come, that's fine. Just have the balls to say it. We're not kids and I don't really have time for these kind of games. To which he ended up telling me that his mom or something was unwell and he had to go back to Africa. And I was like, okay, no problem. That's okay. You do what you need to do. Anyway, I have serious spidey senses. And this probably comes from having just really serious trust issues, right? If I suspect something, there's nothing that you can do to stop me from trying to find out that thing. And I can sit on my bed from morning till night until I find what I'm looking for. It's like an obsession. It becomes like an obsession. So for the next like 2-3 days, I was on the phone with my friend. One of my best friends were always on the phone pretty much 24/7. So we were on the phone and I was searching for this information. And I searched and I searched and I searched and I searched. I eventually found the person on Facebook. I found the page on Google. Like, you know, like those bootleg Instagrams that are on the web. And it's like just some bootleg Instagram that has all of people's information. It really did are these sites. So be careful of that, guys. And so I found like, I typed in like the name that he gave me, found like a friend. And then after finding a friend, I found his pictures, found in the pictures, I found this one woman that was always in the pictures in the group. And I was thinking, okay, she seemed like she's constantly in the pictures. I went and I clicked on her page. And then I'm seeing Mrs. blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I decided to type her name into Google, typed her name into Google, came up on her page. There you go. I'm seeing, Eventually, I found the guy's page. And I found, keep in mind, he had told me he doesn't have a Facebook, whatever. I was like, cool, no problem. I found his page. And then I found his Instagram page. And his Instagram page was a picture of him lipsing some woman. Like, you know, like a photo shoot type picture. So I was like, excuse me. So I went and I messaged him. I was like, hey, there's a picture. I thought you said, first of all, I thought you said you don't have an Instagram or Facebook. Secondly, who's that girl? Who's she? Is that like are you a model or something? You know, I like to act oblivious. You don't act like you know everything. So I was like, so are you a model? Like, do you look like you was a model? And I requested the page. He did not accept. Anyways, he read the message, didn't answer. So I continued my search. Eventually, I stumbled on this woman's pictures on Facebook. Oh, guys, did I not hit the jackpot? I got on it was her wedding pictures. Like, you know, like when they're doing the makeup and they're fixing the trad, all this, wow. And then I stumbled on his pictures. Then I eventually got to the photographer's page. I had to search the photographer's page from goodness knows to goodness knows for me to find their particular wedding pictures, because it had been such a long time ago. I think it had been like a good 6 years ago. So I had to scroll on Instagram until I made it to those pictures. And I eventually found them. And when I found them, I was in pure shock. I was like, wow. And so I screenshot everything and I sent it to him. And I was like, do you know what? One thing I cannot stand is people who are dishonest. It's the most disgusting trait any human being can have, is to be someone who lies. Why do you need to lie? Speak your truth, you know? And the one thing I've realized now is that the Toto is sweeter when the Toto does not know what is going on. That's my own take on it. So I eventually told him, eventually confronted him. He came and he apologized. And he came and he apologized on some like really like lovey-dovey shit as well. Like, I'm really sorry, whatever. And I just was like, oh my days. So yeah, that was the first guy. Yeah, eventually we stopped talking as well. Guy number 2. Now, this guy was not your nice guy. He was a really cool guy. He just was funny. He was your goofy type now. Super cool, you know, very kind, you know, very funny guy. He was African as well. We're gonna call him Robert. Robert was a Ghanaian man, right? And Robert was like, he had like 2 kids and an ex-wife. And so I was like, cool, you know, hey, people get married and divorced. It is what it is. And so I met Robert. We eventually started dating. We dated for a while. For a while was like on some long distance stuff, because he didn't really live very close to me either. And then eventually went on a few dates. We met, and then he always kind of said to me that he and his ex-wife were no longer together, and that he basically in essence said he was divorced. And then when we now had met up a few times, that's when he now wanted to come out with this nonsense storyline about how they had to do this traditional breakup where he goes to Ghana, they drink some drink, and it's like, okay, bye. And he just kept on playing this game like, oh yeah, you know, this is gonna take, you know, I'm gonna go, I promise. So anyway, guys, I think this was like around this time I lost my second job. And so not my second job in my life, but at this point I'd lost my second job. And so I was really just sad, and I really was not willing to deal with his nonsense. And so I told him to kick rocks. But he was annoying because he was a bit on the crazy side. Like, he just would not let go, and like would call me randomly and be like, Tash, I've left her. We can get back together now. And I'm just like, nigga, shut up, okay? Ain't nobody trying to deal with you. Bye. I eventually blocked him, and somehow he would always find ways to call me. And I just was like, no, dude, you're married. Like, go away. Out of all the guys I'm talking about now, he's the only one I never ever managed to find proof on. But his actions and his activity were just proof enough. Like, there's some certain ways that you carry yourself. It's not going to be that difficult to tell that you're hiding something. And so, yes, I think managed to find a way to call me like maybe some 6 or 7 months later on the same, I've done it now, we can get back together type thing. But after he did that, I decided to change my phone number because I just was like, okay, clearly you've got a screw loose and I am not willing to deal with that anymore. As time went by, what would happen is every time I experienced this situation, I would leave the dating world for some time because I needed to just kind of recoup my mind and just be like, no, surely I didn't just go through that. So I would leave it. Anyway, after like a year or something, I decided to get back on it because I was feeling lonely and I needed someone. We all need somebody. We all need somebody to love. Anyway, I left it alone for a while. I decided to get back in the game. And this was like late 2018. Yeah, I went back on Tinder again because, that was where I was finding my working professionals. Hey, I really liked the working professionals, man. This time I had a different agenda. This time I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I was looking for a companion. Now, this is where it gets very, it is what it is. Dad, if you're watching this, I suggest you just log off now. This is too bad. This is too, you're too young for this. Go away. Yeah, so I was just looking for a companion, I just wanted someone to play with. And I wanted someone who also wanted the same thing, who wanted someone to hang out with. Sometimes you don't really want to be in a relationship. You don't want to have a label on anything. You just kind of want, somebody to chill with, occasionally and whatever. So I eventually met someone. He was a very nice looking guy. He was like so cute, in my opinion. Actually, no, he's not that cute. He's actually not that cute, but he's all right looking. Like he's my type. Let's just put it there. There's certain elements about him that are my type. I like a clean cut guy. I like someone who cares about how they dress. I like someone who likes to make sure their hair's cut. I like someone who enjoys working out, but not too much. I don't mind a skinny guy, but I would prefer a chubby hench guy, like a big daddy kind of dude. Yeah, that's it. I need someone that can pick me up because I'm a big girl. Yeah. But that was pretty much it. He was like really skinny, but at the time he was trying to bulk up. So I was like, we'll give you a little chance. Guys, by the end of that thing, dude looked like Mbama. He was really good looking. Yeah, I eventually met this guy and he was like super cool, and he was on the same thing I was. He wasn't really looking for anything with a label or anything. So we didn't try and do the whole dating thing, like going out all the time. Yeah, we just kind of met up and that was that. We go together, kind of, like whatever that is. It just didn't have a label. We were just enjoying each other's company. Eventually he got to meet Caleb because most of the time that he would come, it was nighttime, and we would just hang out. But eventually he started wanting to come like after work, and I obviously would have finished work. We did speak about it, and I was like, to be honest, there's not really any point of you meeting my child. Like, what purpose does that serve? Because you're not someone who's trying to be here permanently, are you? And he kind of said that was what he kind of like, that it was an unspoken relationship that had no label, right? And so we used to see each other all the time. He would spend time with me and Caleb. It was like, call me on my lunch break at work. And so eventually I started feeling like, wow, I think I've found my person. Like, because we gelled really well together. The only thing I didn't like about him is that he had a really cold personality. And so if you were ever looking for sympathy and empathy, he wasn't the person that was going to give that to you. And I struggled with that because I myself am very empathetic, sympathetic. I'm a very emotional person as well. And I'm not a cold person. I'm very warm. So if you are going through things and I'm going to sit on the phone and listen. If you tell him you hurt your leg, he's going to tell you, oh, well, you shouldn't have been doing what you started experiencing some issues, because I am the type of person that if I'm dating you and we are together, I expect to see you quite a lot. I like to spend time with my person. I don't really want to see you once in a blue moon type thing or once every 2 weeks. And so he was like a bit of a workaholic type of person. And so that really used to get on my nerves. At that time, I didn't really have any reasons to suspect him at all. I didn't think that there was anything about him that I needed to suspect. So I just kind of felt like, oh, okay, like what's going on? Like, why are you always working? Eventually, I got to know that the kind of life that he had when he was younger was really hard for him. So he just became a workaholic by nature. And so out of fear of not ever wanting to be back in that position that he was when he was younger. And so I gave him a bit of leeway because of that. But eventually it still became too much and I just could not be bothered to deal with that anymore. And so I eventually just kind of started distancing myself from him. But in the midst of that relationship, I actually still was very searchy, trying to find, I just could never find any information. So I would just give up because he wasn't really giving me too many reasons to suspect him or anything. So I wouldn't look as much, whereas the other guys were giving me reasons to suspect. But one funny day, it was like a Sunday as well. And I just kind of just decided to start searching again. And I started searching. I went on this website called 1992, I think. Or 1229. I can't remember. 1222. Yeah, something. And I went on this website and I was able to type in the name that I had for him. Obviously the name that he gave me. And a whole bunch of names came up. And so out of the names that came, it wasn't a lot of people that had that particular name. So it was only a few people that came up. An address came up. And so the name that came up on the address, it had like an initial in the middle. So I thought, okay, let me go and type that in on Facebook. Guys, as soon as I typed that in, the first thing I saw was this guy's Facebook page, right? I don't know whether he thought I would never find it. I'm not sure. But anyway, the first thing I saw was his Facebook page. And what was so irritating wasn't even the fact that he was married. I'm talking like you walked into the page and it was like the owner of my mumu button, like, praising his wife, all sorts. What was more irritating was the fact that his Tinder pictures were his wedding pictures, just the solo pictures. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I pray, don't ever let me marry any man that does this kind of thing. Do you know how insulting it is for you to marry me and then use the pictures of the day of our union to toast girls? Are you not embarrassed? Are you not ashamed of yourself? That's dirty. I can't even lie. That's really, really dirty. And so, yeah, obviously, naturally, I sent him the stuff. And he, like I said, he was a really cold kind of person. And so when I initially messaged him, he was like, I don't really have time to talk about this today. Can we talk about this another day? And I just was like, prick. Also, I was a bit of just a silly girl at that time. And so, not silly, but you could kind of get away with anything at that time. I wasn't necessarily the best person at standing up for myself during those times. So, yeah, I just kind of was like, whatever. And then eventually the next day he came by and was like, I'm really sorry. Yes, I'm married. This woman we've been separated for a while. That's why you're able to call me when I'm at home, blah, blah, just a whole bunch of nonsense. I eventually just kind of cut that relationship off because I just was like, you know what, nobody's got time for this. And so, yeah, after that, I kind of just decided that Tinder was no longer for me. Since then, like, obviously, I wouldn't say Tinder was not for me. Yeah, it was not for me because I never went back on it after that time. I never ever went back on Tinder from that time because I just kind of felt like, you know what? If we can't filter out all the married men, then what is the purpose of being able to go on this? What is the purpose? Because a lot of these men are using it as a way for them to defy God and for them to look for extra ass, for them to do nonsense against their wives. And I just don't think that's cool. And I kept it open after that situation, but I never used it. I wouldn't even say that I was heartbroken about that situation. I was more so disappointed. And I was very disappointed because I never asked for a relationship. I didn't ask for him to be with me. I didn't ask for him to come and act like a dad to my child. I never asked for none of those things. So I couldn't understand why, if I didn't ask you for all of that, why you felt like you needed to do that, knowing full and well that you are attached and you are unable to fully give yourself to someone. To give yourself to someone, period, because you have already given yourself to someone. Like, it made no sense for me. And so that was the reason why I just felt like, no, I didn't want to go onto that website again. That relationship also, I wouldn't call it a relationship, situationship. That situationship actually also kickstarted my depression. I've suffered from depression since I was young due to just life, things that went on in my life at that time. And I had always been able to kind of go through bouts and then just kind of carry on with life. And so after I'd given birth to Caleb, I hadn't gone through depression for a very long time. But after dealing with him, like, third time's a charm, right? That situationship kickstarted my depression differently. And from that point, I was drinking a lot more. I was turning up a little bit more than I should. I just became like an image of myself. I ended up meeting someone else again eventually who I used as a comfort. I had a very bad habit of using other people to get over another person. And this person, because I was looking for comfort, I didn't notice that they were a very evil person. And so eventually, when I eventually clocked that too, that just made everything worse. I eventually lost my job again. And honestly speaking, I just felt like it was like a string of bad luck. And me personally, I really believe that when it comes to, married people, that's a union bound by God, right? And when you come into it, whether you're knowing or not, in fact, it's even worse when you're knowing. I feel like the consequences from that stuff is colossal. And it's not only spiritual, it's also emotional. And sometimes the thing is, the one thing I always say is that you don't know what that other person in that marriage is praying for. And if they're praying for your downfall, then that's the kind of stuff you're going to experience. Also, soul ties are real. When you enter into a sexual relationship with anybody, if you're a Christian, you understand that soul ties are very serious. And so you carry whatever they're carrying. So whatever sadness, whatever problems they're carrying through in their marriage, all those things, you begin to carry all those things. And so I personally believe that all of that took a toll on me. And for me to be able to get out of that, I had to kind of pray and really get back to God and break those soul ties. I thank God for Noah, because getting pregnant with him saved my life. Honestly speaking, it actually really did. Because that bout of depression lasted from that 2018 to 2009, obviously from that 2019, right up until the time I got pregnant with him. And I was really just sinking and sinking and sinking and sinking and sinking. To the point that I literally just was wondering why I was now on this earth. I really just wanted to not be here. But the person who I was staying alive for every day was Caleb. And I just wanted to make him happy. I wanted to make him proud of me. I wanted him to think I was a good mom, but he thought I was a good mom despite me going through all of that. But anyway, this is not a story about my depression. It is literally me telling you guys, stay away from Tinder, please. I'm joking. Let me not make these people lose their business. No, honestly speaking, that was my experience with Tinder. Eventually, after I gave birth to Noah, I did try and go back on Tinder maybe once or twice, and then I eventually joined Bumble as well at one point because, again, I was feeling a bit lonely. But to be honest, guys, after praying and getting closer to God and my relationship with God, I personally don't think that I'm going to meet my person on Tinder or on a dating site at all, actually. And so I just decided to kind of stay away from them. Now, this is not to say anybody should stay away from them, guys. I'm just telling you my story. But it is worth thinking about, making sure that, you cross-examine the people you interact with on these dating sites, because some of them are either crazy and a lot of them are people's husbands who are just looking for something to do to enjoy their time, or people's wives who are looking for a moment, of satisfaction. And unfortunately, you get dragged in with that situation and you don't want that. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little story time. I'll see you in my next video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And turn on your little notification bell so that you know when I post another video. Your sis is going to try and be posting a little bit more. I know I've been a bit dim lately. I have been going through a lot. Postpartum is real, but I will let you know that in the next one. Love you lots. Love you all. Deuces.
Oh, it's hot in here.